All right, guys, it's 12:45. I hope everybody had a great lunch break. Oh, great. Hello, welcome, welcome. We were just saying, hope everyone had a good break, and we are going to hit it off now with session 3. There it is. And we want to introduce ourselves. My name is Michael Kraft, and the gentleman here.
Hello, my name is Arturo Cano.
And we are both the band directors at Austin Middle School. So this session is for fine arts, integrating technology for fine arts classes. And it has a lot of band specific things, but we feel that they can work across many different fine arts courses and even in the core curriculum or any classes. It's just kind of like we're sharing techniques and procedures that we've grown to use technology more. And it's shown a benefit to our kids, our program, and the culture in our room. So we kind of wanted to share that with you guys. This is our second year doing this one. So I'm going to go on and share our presentation. And that way we can get started here. Let me go back to page 1. It's about 22 slides. It just kind of has a little bit of the generalization of who we are, what we do, and how we've used technology in our classes. Real quick, I want to check 2 things. Can everyone see the shared screen? Please say so in the chat. Mr. Cano will let me know.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, great. Everyone can see?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Great, great, great. And before we get going in that as well, I wanted to make sure you guys can hear me well. If you have headphones or maybe it's lagging on your phone, just make sure you guys can hear us nice and clear. Okay, great. All right. And I do believe there is a survey, and I will also share in the chat a PDF of this presentation. But the survey, I think this year is for at the end of the entire sessions, all 4 of them. But anyway, Miss
The
facilitator here will be helping you out with any questions like that. Thank you so much for that help. Okay. All right, guys. So like we said, we're going to be moving forward and how we integrate this with fine arts classes. Okay. Just to let you know, we are band directors at Austin Middle School. We teach grades 6 through 8. And we also help out with the high school kids as well. We actually implement a lot of the same stuff they do for vertical alignment. So it's applicable for these grade levels, but like I said before, I feel like you could apply this to the elementary level as well. And one more thing, if you have not shared yet, if you're new, please share what school you're from and what subject you teach, or grade level if you don't want to share your school. Just out of curiosity, I saw a lot of people from career pathways, some middle school people, some elementary people, a couple music teachers. So please share, if you haven't done so already, where you come from and what do you do.
That's the earlier ones.
Yeah, we got a few an array of different skill sets in here. So I hope that we can share things that will help us all. And that's also why we decided to talk about this, because it is applicable across multiple ranges. And it checks all the boxes about accommodations and all the things that administrators are looking for and that we're legally obligated to provide for our students. So I'm going to move on. Our background, we are band directors, like we said. We've been at Austin Middle School since 2012. And we began with very few online and technology tools. Of course, if anyone's been a teacher for longer than 15 years, you know how much things have changed, even in the last 5 years. So there's been so much growth and some would say excess use of technology and dependence on it that we have to grow with the times, grow with the technology. So we feel like we've done that kind of like, it just morphed into it. We've always been proprietors of give the kids what they need and to be effective. So it just kind of happened like, hey, well, they need this. They're using these tools. Let's use it with them to help. So we grew with the technology. We developed new techniques as teachers. We've known each other, been working together for over a decade, and we've watched each other grow. And I think the biggest thing that makes it, easy at work and fun and energetic still as a teacher after more than a decade is that we want to continue learning. We keep on like, hey, let's try it like this. Let's try it like this. And we're excited about it. So we wanted to share that with you. One quick technology thing we use is we have a Bruin Band website amongst other social media things. But if you wanted to scan the QR, it should take you to it. If not, just send me a message in the chat and I can send you a link. But it should go to a Google Sites class. We use Google for everything. It's a Google Sites class. It has pictures, biographies of us, and all sorts of awards and accolades and amazing things that the kids do, as well as information about joining band and what we do and all those things. And I recommend you guys, whatever program you're in, to have a Google site or some sort of website, or it doesn't even have to be social. It just has to be like you're out there so that people have things to refer to. We also have music, pick copies of music and worksheets on there too. So the kids can just click it on their phones or their laptops and view the music they forgot. So sometimes that's something that we'll say, or if we're over like a break, I think spring break, and they don't have a copy of their all region music or their solo music, oh, it's there on the site, or we'll send you a link. So it's like that fast. So it is useful for you guys that have kids that forget their stuff. That way you don't have to go to the copy machine. We're lucky enough to have a copy machine. Not everybody does. Not everybody has a right to go printer or copy machine. So it does help us to have a digital. You know, we do have 200 kids in the band, more or less, and we always are trying to balance that between the two of us and how many kids are in each class. I think our largest class size is around 45 or 50, and our smaller ones are maybe 8 to 15. But there's a big differences of what the kids need in those classes and how many kids you have to manage. And any of you guys that have a program or even a course load that is like you're responsible for ABC and XYZ, then you have to have some technology to back yourself up and to be communicative and open. So that's kind of things we've grown with. Here's some pictures of us jamming out with the kids, winning awards, having fun, doing great things with them. And that's another thing that we really love. All right, overview of this course instruction. We're going to create new venues for instruction, assessment, and student accountability. We're going to see how this technology helps set schedules for assignments. We're going to see how it is integrated into assessments in our grade book on the TAC. We're going to see how it helps students achieve their goals that they set for themselves and we set for them. It scaffolds student growth in a way that is like easily structured. It just happens this way. And it's going to provide accommodations for students in need. It's going to maintain rigorous content that we can control. And this technology will help us provide personalized feedback to our students. That's been one of the biggest ones, is to have this feedback. So what kind of technology are we talking about? Well, there's all sorts of benefits for students and teachers. And we'll get to that. We'll get to what the technology is after this one. The kids can use it freely. They have free access to it on their laptops, even with the phone. And we might see it's on their laptops. They can build foundations for independent study. They can set goals and grow with accommodated learning. They can receive feedback quickly. And for the teachers, this reduces printing, needing to copy assessments for kids. We can streamline our assignments into the grade book and hold it accountable. We set adaptive instruction, and we give that the feedback is instant. And I love that because when I grew up in the 20th century doing band like these kids are, we had practice records. If anybody was ever in band or even had a class that asked for your parents' signature that you were doing homework or reading logs, remember the reading logs? We would just write whatever, 30 minutes on this. Okay, turn it in. Hey, there's no feedback. There's no real way to know. So this is more or less like how we use that idea of like formative assessment that happens weekly that we can set the kids accountable to year long and have it structured and digital. So that's kind of what this does is now the kids are able to play, we hear them, and then we can type, hey, work on this. And they get notifications on their devices. Hey, Mr. Kraft just said your triplets are slow. You know what I mean? Whatever it might be. So that's a lot of benefit, the feedback. And I think we'll talk about that a lot. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Cano. We're going to talk about that online resource we've been talking about, and that is assessments through Google Classroom.
Yes, and Mr. Kraft touched on a lot of key points of why we've kind of adapted. In the past, we used to sit in class and go down the line. Okay, you play,
Mhm.
you play. That has its benefits, but it also has its drawbacks. When a kid just they know it, but they have performance anxiety, and they're not going to be able to play it, to the best of their ability. And here we are, scrutinizing in front of everybody, where that could be done a different way. As we adapted with technology, well, what is that different way? Well, now we know. Last year we used Muse class. It was a free app that we're able to do assignments and adapt it for each student. Let's say we had a really strong superstar kid that can play the tempo, great. That kid's gonna have no problem doing it. But then we have somebody else that's a seventh grader that maybe had just only 1 year band experience. They're not gonna be able to do that. So there has to be some in between there. Another thing, and this is something actually I spoke to my wife. My wife is another band director here in the district, Audie Murphy, and she was explaining a situation where she was actually using Google Classroom. You know how students are. They're all great, right? They do the work all the time and turn it in on time. Well, this wasn't one of those students, obviously. The student didn't want to participate. There was just a laundry list of reasons why the student didn't deserve a passing grade. Now, obviously, our goal here is to make band fun, make sure it's easy, and that a lot of it really is. You show up, participate, play what you got to play, get it done. But sometimes kids don't want to do that. So what do we have as music teachers as a fallback? They can't. We don't have a piece of paper where he plays it and the paper tells you that's how they did it. So now through having okay, here are all the assignments for the first 6 weeks, and he hasn't done any of them. Parents are always going to ask for can they turn in late assignments? Of course, you just want them to do that. There's multiple. It depends on the program. You got your overall participation, you got your overall playing the exercises, and you got your after school grades as well. So obviously a student's not going to fail just because they don't show up for the after school practices. So they need to have that ability in our performing arts, just like in anything else. In any kind of electives, choir, they have to sing the passages, the correct pitches. Dance, they got to do all the right dance moves. In sports, they gotta be able to. I mean, you can't just say, "Cool, you're gonna kick the ball with your left foot and do this." Well, you got to see them actually do that, and that's what that really gives us that fallback. So that's what really has helped us out. It's helped us also to increase the culture of a program. I know Mr. Kraft has said this a few times. It's like, kids have run up to us and say, "Sir, hold on, I want to practice my skill really quickly before I turn in my assignment." So like now the kids really have that sense of pride in what they're doing. And so instead of embarrassing the kid or the kid embarrassing themselves for whatever reason or what happened to their performance, now they're excited. Now they're really trying hard because they want to do great on the B flat scale. They want to do great on their fight song or whatever it is. And now our program is getting better and better and better. So that's why we really love Muse class, but we have to adapt, and now Google Classroom offers the same thing. Um, it says easy classroom setup and sharing. What I love about that is there's a rubric you can do, and we have a picture of that, and it's kind of we started it, and I was like kind of excited, like wow, we can give them 5 points here, 10 points here, 15 points. You could break it up however you need and whatever subcategory you need. So we'll talk about that. There's video and audio submissions. The one thing we come across with audio submissions is sometimes we have kids that try to cheat the system. With band, there's obviously no AI. You ain't gonna have AI play it for you, but you can have another student play it for you. So we have either video assignments that they turn in, and this year we're gonna try to play with the idea of them giving us like YouTube private links. That's something we used to do back when we used to work in drum corps back with Genesis Drum Bugle Corps, 2010.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Practice tool links attached that and then all that. We can record ourselves play these 8 measures and then give them a video example of us playing whatever instrument that needs to be. And then the feedback, like I said, it's quick. A lot of times I'm lazy. I don't like to type. So they have vocal. You can record yourself, giving them the feedback. Hey, watch measure 2. You're playing the wrong rhythm, wrong notes. Watch that F sharp. It's fingered this way. Lots of stuff, and then the kids can go back and you can reassign it, or if they're happy with the grade, just keep that grade. And then the last little point there, the reassignments of late work. We want these kids have every opportunity to pass, while understanding that they are accountable for whatever it is we're performing, whether it's the warm up, whether it's all region scales, whatever. Now the accountability is much higher for the student.
And year round. We find a way to use it all year. So when we set it up, the website has access. I'm sure all of y'all use some sort of Google Classroom or something, but we're going to share a little bit in more detail how we use it. That really is kind of a difference to us. And also we felt like we were behind the times. So we just started using this a couple years ago, and it's really helped. It kind of molded from the COVID instruction that we had to do. We customized the groupings of our students into different subcategories, whatever feels appropriate, whether by their instrument or their grade level or their ability. It's fully customizable. So you guys, let's say you had certain periods, you could separate your periods into different classes, or choir, you could do your sopranos in one class or your sixth graders in one class. It's kind of where it's applicable. And we also can add teachers for collaboration. So more than one person can view it. But I also love that you can make only we view it. No one else gets to see this.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of kids are shy. Like, let's say you guys have a kid that's not a Spanish speaker, and you have to do an audio or a video assignment where they need to read out loud. And they're not comfortable reading because their language is poor in class out loud. They're not comfortable. They think they'll get made fun of or something. They can read it in their room, or we have practice rooms. The kids can read on their own. And, I'm saying reading a book because I find it applicable to other courses. But for us, music, let's say the flute player is a real timid player. Well, she doesn't want to play in front of the whole band. Well, instead, she says, may I go to the room, like after school? And she does it there on her own. And I hear her. And she's playing with more confidence. And that's a step, because we do have to do whatever these kids need. So I like that we can only have us hear it instead of everybody else. There are other means to do this where the kids are more social, and I can see kids bullying like their sound or whatever. Maybe not our kids, right? Not our kids.
No.
But we like that it's more private with the teacher. We use it for formative assessments, weekly assignments. It's in our grade book with unlimited attempts. We let them do slower tempos or shorter cuts of the music as needed. We target their gaps in understanding. So as they get to a goal, let's say it's a 6-week goal, we want to know where they want to be at the halfway point and how we want to take steps towards that. We're using it the same way to learn their all region music this fall. You have to just fragment it. Okay, Mr. Cano can talk about this. We have an assignment set up. It has a rubric. Mm-hmm. He had touched on it earlier. This is more or less what it looks like in Google Classroom.
Yeah, so I mean, if those of you that have used this before, this is just the assignment in Google Classrooms. I did a long-term exercise. This is going to be our first assignment for our school year. We use this one as a tester. That way the kids can really know how to use exercise. It's going to be an exercise that they're all going to be successful. And that's the one thing we want to breed that success. So as soon as the kids hears all this positive feedback, well, cool. Then now they know, oh, I'm going to hear some good stuff. Awesome. Because sometimes they don't get that. Don't get me wrong. We definitely tell the kids when they don't sound good. That's our job. But the thing is, we got to build up these kids in their character, because in the long run, we want them to stay in our program for 3 years, and we want them to stay in the high school for 4 years, so making a 7-year commitment to the band program. So I have a little generic there. It said perform long-term exercise with the following steps. I said video recording. I said must see instruments. So I gave them little parameters of what I like to see. If you want to, again, most of these are targeted for performing arts. Even let's say we do like art class, they could put an overhead and then draw a in fast, what was it, the fast form on the iPhone, what's it called, time lapse.
Oh, time lapse.
Yeah, them drawing something. Mr. Kraft also mentioned here, what was that?
Reading.
Yes, reading
out loud.
And then some things that we try to do a lot, and it takes time in class, is like concert evaluations. How was the concert? I would definitely like to start doing this on here. That's one thing we're gonna adapt for next year.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like write a half-page evaluation of your last performance and read it out loud on Google Classroom. Some kids don't like reading out loud in class. I know I didn't. I have Lexdexia. I would always mix everything up, and I remember what it was like. And so I know these kids do, and so they're much more confident in their room reading something they wrote out loud. And I do want to do that. Actually, it's a great idea.
Yeah, and these are things that our administrators want us to do. And like for me, like I'm sorry, I have blinders when I have a goal. Like, cool, we have a pep rally here next 2 weeks or whatever it is. Then I just want to teach that. But when admin comes in, they want the students also to talk to each other about whatever the lesson is, about giving them examples. letting them speak, and that's something I was really bad at, but we all work harder when there's a little of incentive there. So those are certain things that can definitely be applied in your next observation.
The tapas, listening,
Yes.
reading, writing,
Yeah.
and speaking.
So that could be added real quickly on your lesson plan. Oh, sorry, sir.
It's okay. I don't know. You mentioned the rubric on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And guys, so just so you know, this is how we made this. Was he was the teacher. I joined his class. So Mr. Cano, I'm sorry, I have not turned it in yet, but we accept late work. Excellent. Okay, he's gonna talk about the rubric.
So I stopped real quickly because I was like really geeking out. Like, man, there's like we could do so much here. Right there on tone, I had the boxes at 20 points, 10 points. For the students to earn that top box, they had to play with correct posture. They had to sound like a clarinet or a flute and not sound like anything else. To go to the next box, the 10 points, a little bit lesser tone. Maybe they have some air issues, embouchure issues. We'll give them there. And then if there was a third box, you could put the kid will only earn 5 points on there. They probably demonstrated poor tone, poor posture, poor embouchure. And then we will give feedback here at the bottom how to improve on that. Right? Don't touch it. Sorry.
And you can break it down however you wish.
Yes.
This is also more or less the way we structure our SLOs? SGM, sorry. Our SGMs, and through getting our ratings and all those things that we want to get through administration, because I know you all want to be validated and get the rating that you feel you deserve, because we all work hard at our jobs. And so this kind of helps us too, the way we do rubrics and all those things. Okay, uploading submissions. So I put up this one. I was gonna turn it in, but I just stopped here. You can click on a file. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
There's also a YouTube link. I think that might have gotten cut off there,
sorry.
and that's what I'm saying. Because sometimes I think our Google Drive is like limited to like either 5 or I don't know how many gigs you got in there, but eventually with so many video submissions, it will get overloaded. So sometimes we like the audio, and there's also a YouTube link. They can do a private link and get that going, because kids, a lot of these kids know. My little 3-year-old is constantly on YouTube, so that's maybe something we need to get caught up on, just to make things so much easier for us. Like I said, but the performing arts is like, how can we show the principal, how can we show the parents why our kid or why the child is not passing? Well, here's why, and here's what to do to improve upon that practice.
Visible accountability. I was going to say most of our assignments are less than a minute, and so if they're recording on their laptops, that's the whole point. We want this to be every kid can use their laptop. So we wanted to where Muse class was mobile. We wanted to make it this year, like now there's not going to be a lot of mobile phones in schools. This is laptop based. So, the kids can do it at home or anywhere they can log into a Google device. So they would, record it on their computers, and then they would upload the file. Now, some kids, I remember they would not have their cameras work. I knew one kid's camera was broken, and they said, well, we can't fix it. We're out of laptops. And it'll take 2 weeks. So the kid, I remember he got his own USB mic and did something. He did it to bypass the broken microphone or something. So these kids will find a way. Kids have also done their phones, their phone, or even our computers. Our computers can do it too. So after school, if the kid's laptop is dead or they forgot it, we'll just take one of these. We get a couple of school computers always, so we use that. Recording questions, how to receive. Go ahead, sir. I can't read that part.
Okay, yeah. So I'm back in track. So I know, if I remember correctly, you go to when you create the assignment. Now I'm not sure if the student would be able to perform that while they're recording. If they're doing, let's say you give them an MP3 file of that, and then they should be able to upload that there. You create the assignment, upload the file. So as they record, they should be able to do it simultaneously. Record on their video file, the camera, and then just press the audio file that should simultaneously go on.
Or like a backtrack or something?
Yeah, she's talking about like a government.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they would just need another device.
Yeah.
And if they have their phone at home, that's the other beauty of this. We'll talk about this too. They can do this wherever they want. And we also will provide it. Let's say that's a good idea, actually. Let's say we said, okay, you're going to try out for All Region Jazz. You need to show us some backtrack solo accompaniment, improv. So let's say we provide that time at school. And we play audios on our speakers, and the kids can record themselves like that. What do you provide? But that's a great idea. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Okay, anyway, so that's how uploading works. It's very simple. Feedback. So this is actually from Muse class, and so is this recording, but it's still applicable to what we can do for feedback. You'll see here we use pass or fail or a 100-point scale with the rubric. We can give comments on every single one. We can do resubmissions, tell them, hey, go on and try that again and resubmit. And I believe this is a audio. Okay, I'll stop her there, that phrase. She needs to work on her intonation, and I think that was one of our comments in that too. I said, hey, check your tuners on the high notes, check your face, check your air. And I heard 21 seconds of it. I can already start typing, submit, next kid. And we split the band, so I see the woodwind players and the percussionist. He does all those brass kids, and it's a lot to listen to. So we try to keep it moving. That was part of our solo in like the beginning of the year. So let's say the kid has a 32 measure solo they got to do. We'll say, okay, let's hear the first 8 measures, and then the next week the second 8 measures with a run through at the end, or like maybe at the end we'll say, pick your hardest part, pick your worst part, or play it at a faster tempo. We just change it up. It's going to help with all region as well. So that's kind of what we do, and then
And solo ensemble.
And like Mr. Cano said, you can give audio feedback. So we ourselves can record something, our voice, or even playing back an example. Like I would play it back to her on my clarinet, and I could send that as my response. And by the way, like Mr. Cano was talking about space of the cloud to like have all those video submissions. The YouTube channel is the best way, and I think even as a teacher, I would make one so I could just share a link of like here's a link of me playing this exercise.
Mhm.
Click on it, go listen to it. And then if I want to respond to the kid, I can make another one, but make it private to where you're only sharing that link instead of your whole page.
Yeah.
There's ways to do that on YouTube.
See, we used to do that back in 2010 when we were with Genesis Drum and Bugle Corps. We had members from all over
The Valley
Texas.
Zone.
Yeah, Valley Zone, all over Texas, Oklahoma, Florida. At least in the southern part of the country over here. And that's how we would practice between camps. YouTube links, and sometimes it works, sometimes it wouldn't. But we listen to most of those kids all the time. So yeah,
On those iPhone 4s.
yes, sir. A long
The
time.
3GS. Yeah, I'm crazy. Okay, so we'll move on to grading. I'll let Mr. Cano talk a little bit about how we incorporate this into the TAC.
Yeah, so I think I kind of briefly mentioned the way we kind of do our grading. We have the weekly assignments. Everybody's one weekly assignment, as well as one weekly participation. Meaning, do they come to class? Do they bring all the materials? Then we have after school practices. Everybody's required to come to one after school practice. And then this is where it's awesome because the kids are doing sports, kids are doing UIL or dance, whatever. And they try to come to our lesson. We introduced whatever we're going to teach them for their assignments. And then they're okay, I got to go to athletics. I got to go here. Okay, cool. Just make sure you record your assignments. And that creates a flexibility and the understanding. They want to work. These kids are just 12, 13, 14 years old. And they're trying to figure out what they want to do. And they don't want to work for somebody who's just not going to help them out in that process. We found out that we have more success if we kind of help the kids and encourage them whatever they're doing. They're going to like band, they're going to like sports. Well, cool, they can do both if you allow them to do both. Mm-hmm. There is sometimes that negativity where some people say, you can't do that because of X, Y, Z. Well, that's what maybe happened in your situation. But here, we really try to teach the kids how to manage time because that's just going to make them an overall better academic student. That's why we're here. Our elective classes is unfortunately secondary. But going back, I got to stop touching the computer, sir. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you went right back to it, though. You're good.
Okay. So going back to the TAC here, that's how we really adapted those Muse class recordings. We had parents call us right at the progress report grade. How come my son or my daughter is failing? And well, look at the class. What is this Muse class? Well, then we explain what it is.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, they can do it here at home?
Yeah.
Yes.
They didn't even know.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't communicate.
They'll be missing 3 recordings, and we're like, well, they got a 74 or a 62. We fail a lot of kids in the progress report if they don't do them, and they're missing 3 recordings, and mom's like, go do it, and the kid knocks them out that night, and then now look, they have an 88 or I think we get full credit. They get a 90,
Yeah, we give them full
94
credit,
at that point.
Yes. I know also in the Google Classroom they do have once you do all these assignments, they do have a grade book that you can transfer over. I really haven't done that. I kind of will just have a spreadsheet to one side and then just upload the grades to my other screen over there. But it still just makes everything just in one spot, and that's the easiest thing for us when we're trying to deal with 120 seventh and eighth graders, and then 100 plus sixth graders. Yeah, and we need to find a way to try to get this done because it's just like your ELA teacher giving written assignments, and then they got to grade all these assignments. So we need to try to find number one to keep the kids accountable, and number two also keep it short for us because we have families, we got wives, we got our own personal lives too, but we got a program to take care of. Yeah, and like I said, the accountability increases, and we connect more with the parents, and the parents understand what we're doing. We're not crazy. We're not asking them to do all these 5-minute assignments, 30 seconds up to a minute. Usually it's 45 seconds or so the most. But yes, this has really helped us out and to increase that accountability and the culture of practicing and competition.
Yeah, I think when Cano was referring to it, I remember it now that he brings it up. It was some clarinet, second row clarinet kid, and he said, "Hold on, can you open that room? I need to go record my D flat scale." And he ran off, and I'm like, "What?" I never would ever hear, any of you as a music teacher, you're like, who cares? You know what I mean? I know I didn't when I was a kid, but now it's like they're all nerds about it, and we love it because we are too, and we love it that's the culture it's made.
29 minutes.
29 minutes left. Okay, thank you.
This is the Twitter's like the AI thing.
I think that AI.
Yeah.
This session's over at 1:35, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I was going to now touch on accommodations, how we use our room, and how we like to separate our students with this technology, and how we want to show, transparency of these artifacts in our.
That's a good point right there.
Yes, we want to put these artifacts anywhere we can. If they want an evaluation, we upload.
Can I interrupt you there, sir?
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned those artifacts, and those are very important. I have been teaching for here in PSJA. This is my 14th, 15th year actually. And last year, I hate to say this, was my first year that I ever did some artifacts. But last year was also my best rating that I ever got, and it was because of that. And the thing is, I was asking the principal, well, how can I put this as an artifact, but it's just a sound thing. Well, just to take a screenshot of what you're doing for the assignments, give them a screenshot, and then circle. Here's the feedback to the student, and then there you have your artifact. Here's this picture on the far right. You have students practicing with the phones on there, and that's the use of technology. That's how the students are recording. And then accommodations as well. There's a range of tempos that we give the students. We say play this at quarter equals 60 up to quarter equals 120, whatever it may be. We give that accommodation. Some of it might be just play it note by note. It doesn't even need to be in time or anything. Just make sure you're playing the right pitches. So it's just very important to really help out these students as they grow, because we all remember, at least I can remember those scary band directors that scared the bejesus out of me there in band just because I couldn't play the B flat scale. So this really helps us out.
That was my sophomore year of college oral skills.
Oh my Lord, yes.
You would pull a name out of a hat, sing Dorian F. Like in front of the whole class. Oh my God, I'm a drummer. No, nobody wants to hear that. Anyway, so these are our kids. We like to separate them into small groups, whether they like to play together or one kid is helping the other. We try to group them up in ways that help them. So of course we have the benefit of practice rooms. Some of you guys, if you're stuck in one room, you could have the kids have a schedule where only these students come at this time, and that way you have more space, private rooms, private space to do things in more closed environment if they feel more comfortable that way. That's really what I do. I see a lot. I teach a lot of female students in the woodwind section, and they're all great flute players in the practice room, but you put them in the front row and they see the lights and they start to get a little timid. And so we try to build confidence so that they can start like this. I say, look, if you play more confident, you're going to feel more confident. So start with your playing and build that up. And like Mr. Cano mentioned about the phones right here for the trumpet players on the right, I don't know what the phone ban is going to bring, but I imagine that if the teacher needs it as a tool, it'll be allowed. I'm not going to speak on that. I don't really know what they're going to vote for or what us as a district's going to do. But if you couldn't use your phone, of course, you could use the laptop instead in that picture. All right, so we're going to move on to student assistance. So like Mr. Cano said, we're very flexible with the kids. We want to have all the opportunities they can. So we let the kids use those school devices like a laptop if they don't have their own. Students can log in on our devices under their name, or we can I've let the kids record on the laptop, like off of the media app that's on here, and just let it go to my downloads on the hard drive, and then I just have a video of you, and I'll count it on the thing. If we're in that much of a hurry, I'll upload it for them, as long as you just get it done. And then teachers can guide the instruction, like in one of these videos, it'll show a little teacher guidance first. And then we have flexibility of time, and that's one of the big ones here. The first one, you're going to see JP and Ezekiel coming off of baseball practice, and they're recording some of their chromatic scale while Ezekiel works on his swing. And then they rotate and recorded it again, and then they ran to baseball. So now I can still help my all-region kid while these kids that are double dipping and not doing all-region because they just want to drum. Yeah, I have a lot of that kind of stuff sometimes. They just need to record their assignment. So there he did. He went and did some of it, and he turned it in. Okay, the next student, Jared. I'm sitting there with him recording. So what he had told me, he said, I can't do it on my own. I don't know how to keep a beat. I remember him telling me that. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, let me help you, man. And then I showed him about the metronome and tapping your foot. He was actually an 8th grade beginner. But he was a cool kid. And what I like about that kid a lot is he was well known on campus for all the wrong reasons. He always seemed to be like one of those kids where he got along with all the adults, but they were all mad at him for something, all the time. He was kind of a troubled kid. And then he always talked about how much he liked band, and we never could let him in because he was always in trouble. They wouldn't let him join electives. They finally let him do it his 8th grade year because he matured up a little. He joined up Sax, and I think he went to a different high school, but he ended up becoming a good kid with us. He was actually, I remember hearing in like one of the forms I filled out about his IEP or something, or behavior plan, that he has really improved because of band, and he liked it, and this kind of helped him. So it's cool to see that kid. And then right here's a real short one. So there I'm explaining, and then I'll play an example. And then I'll play down the exercise, and then the kids record that exact thing or a portion of it. So I think in this video, it's 2.5 minutes. I played it a couple times, explain things, and then that would be my upload with their assignment. And then the kids would play it back. So that's kind of how we use student assistance and all this. Teacher guidance. Mr. Cano has done a lot of this, and the kids are taking a lot of his routines to help him out. This is our summer band where we're using balloons. And the kids, I remember, they all had balloons, and they were blowing them up on their own, trying to make it big in a certain number of counts and controlling their air. And it was really cool. And so these are the kind of things that maybe we didn't use technology so much for, but I remember them working on their air more, and it helped the recordings. We have the kids in small groups. We have the kids that share methods for students to implement. So we'll go ahead and put things that we think do really well, pointers, and we'll put it on their assignment so they can think about that. Hand positions, breathing techniques, all those things. We'll make sure that we put that in place, and we'll say, make sure in the video that you have good posture and all these things. So we're trying to like bridge the gap between the classroom and the recording assignment.
Now, we found that it's easier to do all the teacher guidance after school. Don't get me wrong, with sitting down, recording is all fine and dandy. But, we also try to hook the kids to come to after school practice, because sometimes if they have that as well, I can just watch the video. Well, yeah, but come to after school practice, That's we also build the camaraderie and change the culture of the band program. That's something that's been the main focus. From year to year, we get change, things are moving in the right direction, but we don't kind of settle the way you mentioned at the beginning. It's like we want to always be moving forward. We can't just just settle for what was good last year. We got to improve.
Yeah, for sure. So that's how we use Google Classroom. I also wanted to share some online resources that we also use. A lot of you guys probably know about this one. I think there's only 2 music teachers here. Musictheory.net, of course. We have our kids go to the exercises. Are you guys all seeing this right now? And they just fill this out, and then maybe I'll say, take a screenshot of your first 10, and then they do this on their own. You know what I mean? You guys can for sure assign it. It's as easy as putting a link. Is that A or C? That's sorry, I'm talking and doing this. So far, I'm doing good. So you can do those.
So what we love about this one is we use it as the kids come in, and we know who our strong readers are. You know who the weak ones are. So hey, come read 10 notes, or take off your computer. These are the bell ringer activities.
The smart board.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be dealing with the clarinets, and I'm like, hey, flutes, get up and go do 10 each on the smart board. And they're standing up, and they're kind of talking or whatever, but they're up, and I don't know what changed.
And the people waiting in line are cheering them on.
And they're cheering them on and helping them, yeah. And then if they do it, if they get 100, they get a piece of candy. Like, it's so simple, and it works so well. But I was going to mention to this, administrators now, I guess there's a lot of block classes. We don't have a block class. We got 45 after you take setup time and moving time, 42 minutes with the kids every day, and you got to do some stuff, and they want to see these kids up. They want to see them interacting. So I think one time I did this for what's it called? An observation. And so I think it was an unannounced. You just happened to walk in, and I'm over there with the 4 clarinet players, and I got 4 more flute players at the board, and they're doing that on their own. They're telling me that they finished. So I said, get candy, have a seat. And the administrator was like, wow, awesome. Because I have them kind of student-led.
That's the one.
Yeah, student-led. They're self-managing. They're, so use your smart boards. We barely got one. I think we're trying to buy another one, but we barely got one, like 2 years late. Use small collaborative groups. So use your time. Okay, so if you're also a music teacher, I love 44IO. So that's the number 4, the spelled out word 4, and then .io. Are you guys seeing this screen? Yes. Okay, excellent. All right, so I don't know if you've ever used 44IO. There's a lot in here. There's a lot, and it's all rhythm based. So, I'm a drummer. Rhythm is king. And you need to make sure the kids can play and count in time. So it's stuff like this. So which one of these 2 did you hear? Listen to it again. We don't all have music teachers here. Let's see how y'all did. Do you think it's the first choice or the second choice? Listen again.
So the empty spot, is it a...
These are your 2 options for the empty spot. Listen to it again. First choice, or y'all can't hear it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. I was trying to have fun. Okay, so you just click the one you hear. Okay, sorry about that. But it is another fun tool. So if you're a music teacher, I recommend you check out 44IO. We use it for
this is
the board as well.
The beginning of the year when we're trying to fill in the gap when we're waiting for Melhart and Tick Matter to drop off instruments. We sit as a class, show them how to sit in posture, and then go 1, 2, 3, and 4, whatever the rhythm is. We're all learning how to do the rhythm together.
It takes 2 days to learn how to sit in a chair in our class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about classroom resources. Of course, I say Google Classroom for posting, quizzes, written assignments. Teams and Flip kind of got together now. So there's Flip Audio. I think everyone has access to Teams as well. You can use that for kids too. And then, of course, quizzes, talking about the assessment stuff. We use quizzes every Friday during the first 6 weeks for beginners. And it's such a fun tool. I don't know if y'all use quizzes or BlueKit or whatever. If y'all use something else, please share it in the chat. I'd love to learn some new things from you. What else do you use other than quizzes? I think quizzes is the most simple. I don't remember which one's not free anymore. Maybe it's quizzes or BlueKit. Do you guys use anything like that with your kids? Kind of like quiz games?
Kahoot. Forgot about Kahoot.
Kahoot is good. Vocaroo, for vocabulary. That's cool. Anything else, y'all? I'm always curious is why. I hear something new all the time. For singing, oh, vocal rule. For singing, so is that like audio submissions only or what? Miss Avalos. Really? So do you really like that's very similar to this Google Classroom, but ours is video. Do you really like that process? Have you been using it a long time? Sorry to ask you questions. We'll have to check out Vocaroo. You can put how you use it if you wish. But yeah, we'll check that out too. That'd be cool. So anyway, we use quizzes a lot for our like theory and vocabulary and reading music, symbols, notation, all the stuff they need to have. So I recommend you use quizzes. There's a QR there for it if you want. I think the reason I like quizzes the most is because there's a lot of pre-made ones, and you just go. I type in rhythm for sixth graders, and it'll do it. You see, nice. Yeah, those recording assignments are awesome. I'm glad that you're sharing that. Thank you, Ms. Alvarez. Okay, the next thing. Yes, we have a website that stays the same. It's just a resource. We use online teaching and instruction with Google Classroom, but we also have a social media technology resource that we use for communication and for streamlining. But I see now that I have about 4 minutes left. So maybe just briefly mention it, Mr. Cano. The band app is what we use. There's no limit. We used to use Remind, but I think there's a limit. So I see here we have 330 members. I think we're close to 400 now. Use something like this or Classroom Dojo. It's very useful with the parents, and we have a lot of trips, so it helps a lot. Okay, now for something that I think would interest more of you, perhaps applications outside the band hall. So other music classes, you can use recordings of exercises, musical selections, and reinforcement music literacy. Dance classes, if there's a dance teacher, you could have video recordings of submissions. We have more time. Art teachers, I think Mr. Cano mentioned this, having like a time lapse of your drawing. Those are pretty cool. Drama classes could do excerpts of lessons or lines, and for competitions, or creating activities outside the classroom. Okay, here's some general guidance that we think is important and the steps to success when you're using this stuff. So first is have a backup. I know that we love our devices, but have an extra one or paper printed options. Like let's say it's a paper device, have something available so that let's say it does come up where a kid doesn't have a device and you don't have one either, something printed for them to do or read. That way they can do it. The next one, number 2, and this has been something I've learned that I just have to do, stay persistent. Nothing is automatic. My grading, when I listen to them, when the kids do them, none of that is automatic. You can't just put it in the gross mode. The students have to take my lead. So if I'm like, hey, I didn't hear your recordings, I'll hear it. Like if I don't listen to him for 3 weeks, they'll be like, he's not going to listen anyway. So no, you got to do it. You got to do it. So stay persistent, even when you don't want to. Be positive. Promote a supportive environment. Don't be like, well, you haven't even done your recording, so blah blah blah. What good are you? We don't down talk our kids. They might hear that at home, but we don't down talk our kids because I don't know what they hear at home. Sometimes I down talk my kids at home, so I know not to do it at our school. So we want to be supportive and find any progress and grow from there. Like a lot of kids, they are very critical, especially in music. They think they stink, and all they do, they play, and then they look at us like, "How was it?" They want to know, and so we want to grab any progress. I'll tell them 1% a day, we'll do it. Just go 1%. And the last thing is connect with your parents. They will be on your side if you tell them straight up, and be very communicative with them for positive things too. We'll have a kid show up to 3 practices in a row, and we'll call and thank the parent for the support and for your kid was present. Thank you. And then they talk about that. The kid feels good about you, and the parents feel good about their kids, and that's all what we want. Now that we both have kids, like all we want the teachers or the daycare teachers to say is how good he is, or they're eating well, or all this stuff. They're behaved, they're mannered. I don't know if you guys have children, but you want to hear that stuff from your teachers, because they're the ones that see your kids for who they really are. Because Lord knows those kids are whoever they can be in school.
Let me add something real quick.
Yes, sir.
I really like that number 2 right here, and I connect 2 and 4 because from the very start of the year, we tried to sit down and we call every single parent. You know, I say it like that because it's a pain in the butt because we want to go home to our kids. Like I just got a 4-month-old at home, or my older boy is about to turn 4. So we try to be as efficient as we can. So whenever we're done with our lessons, we sit down and cool, call parents, positive phone calls, negative if we have to. You know, hey, your kid's not showing up. I want them to show up. You know, he plays great in class. I just want him to do his assignments. And then, well, what assignments are you talking about? And that's when you get to explain. And from there, if the parents are with you, and you know, they will make sure those recordings get done all the time. You know, I could think a lot of kids like that. You know, I won't mention names, but yeah, I could think a lot of kids like that last year who were on the fence, weren't really trying, and now they love it. They love it. Now they're breeding success over there at the high school. So
For sure.
it's that change of culture that really helps out with that persistence. That's the one. If you're not a part of it, if your team doesn't believe about it, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and I'll tell the kids this a lot of times when they feel down or like they don't want to work. The last thing I said here is that they will only see the benefit after the results. So you need to push through, even when they don't want to do it. Okay, I know that we're going to have some time for sharing and questioning, but I don't know if that's something that's allotted during these last 10 minutes. I believe it was like that. If not, we can wrap it up now, unless anyone has anything to add. I just wanted to thank you so much for your time. And I wanted to let you know that if you have any questions, or if you have any concerns or you want more resources, please do not hesitate to get a hold of me. The name is Michael Kraft. That's Michael.Kraft at PSJA. And then let me share the QR or the PDF of this to you guys, okay? I'm gonna put it in the chat in case anybody wants to take any of this home.
Yes, and don't forget in the chat, I think Miss Marvin mentioned, make sure that you do the remote check-in and then do the session evaluation here once you're done. And don't forget, there's lots of door prizes.
Oh yes, please make sure you do those and read over. Okay.
Thank you all for attending. Appreciate you.